The U.S. Thunderbirds are the Air Demonstration Squadron of the United States Air Force. The Thunderbirds are assigned to the 57th Wing, and are based at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. Created 66 years ago in 1953, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds are the third oldest formal flying aerobatic team in the world, after the French Air Force Patrouille de France formed in 1931 and the United States Navy Blue Angels formed in 1946. The Thunderbirds Squadron tours the United States and much of the world, performing aerobatic formation and solo flying in specially marked aircraft. The squadron's name is taken from the legendary creature that appears in the mythologies of several indigenous North American cultures. The Thunderbirds Squadron is one of the oldest squadrons in the Air Force, its origins dating to the organization of the 30th Aero Squadron, formed at Kelly Field, Texas on June 13, 1917. Officers serve a 2-year assignment with the squadron, while enlisted personnel serve 3 to 4 years. As the squadron performs no more than 88 air demonstrations each year, replacements must be trained for about half of the team each year, in order to provide a constant mix of experience. In addition to their air demonstration responsibilities, the Thunderbirds are part of the U.S. Air Force Combat Force and if required, can be rapidly integrated into an operational fighter unit. Since February 15, 1974, the Thunderbirds have been a component of the 57th Wing at Nellis AFB. Since 1953, they have flown in front of more than 300 million people. The U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds perform aerial demonstrations in the F-16C Fighting Falcon, and they also fly 2 F-16D Twin Sea trainers. The F-16 has been the demonstration aircraft for the Thunderbirds since the 1983 season. In January 1982, 4 members of the squadron were killed in what became known as the Diamond Crash of T-38 Talon aircraft, which the squadron had flown since 1974. Partially as a result of that accident, the squadron switched to the F-16A, and sat out the 1982 airshow season and spent that year retraining and transitioning over to the new aircraft to ready themselves for the 1983 season. The F-16, however, had been considered for transition prior to the accident. In rebuilding the Thunderbird team, the Air Force recruited previous Thunderbird pilots, qualified each in the F-16A, and had them begin by flying 2 ship maneuvers, then expanded the program 1 airplane at a time up to the full 6 airplanes. Beginning in June 1982, the F-16 Thunderbirds were led by Major Jim Latham. The team continues to fly the F-16, having switched from the F-16A to the F-16C in 1992. Only a few minor modifications differentiate a Thunderbird from an operational F-16C. These include the replacement of the 20mm cannon and ammunition drum with a smoke-generating system, including its plumbing and control switches, the removal of the jet fuel starter exhaust door, and the application of the Thunderbird's glossy red, white, and blue polyurethane paint scheme. All of the modification work is performed at the maintenance depot at Hill AFB near Ogden, Utah. Other than those modifications, the aircraft are taken from the standard U.S. Air Force inventory as production fighters, and can be returned to an operational squadron in short order without any major modification. During the switch to the F-16A, the Thunderbirds acquired new Block 15 aircraft which they operated from 1983 to 1991, making the team one of the last USAF units flying the older F-16As before transitioning into new Cs. They also operated the 2-seat F-16B during this time for training new pilots and for VIP flights, these being replaced by the F-16D when the rest of the squadron transitioned to the F-16C. The F-16 Block 32HJ aircraft currently assigned to the Thunderbirds were built in 1986 and 1987, and operated by the Thunderbirds from 1992 to 2008. At their retirement, they were some of the oldest operational F-16s in the United States Air Force. In the 2009 show season, the Thunderbirds transitioned to an updated version of the F-16 fighter. The Block 52s have an upgraded avionics package that brings the Thunderbird fleet into alignment with the rest of the worldwide F-16 fleet. Additionally, the more powerful Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW229 engine adds an additional 3,600 pounds of thrust. This in turn increases the maximum allowable gross weight for ground handling, taxi, takeoff and in-flight maneuvers by nearly 5,000 pounds. The typical demonstration routine takes place from the end of the runway when the 4-ship Thunderbird team get ready to begin their takeoff roll with the words "Thunderbirds, let's run 'em up," being retransmitted from the team leader's mic through the PA system for the crowd to hear. Historically, as Thunderbirds 1 through 4 lift off, the slot aircraft slips immediately into position behind 1 to create the signature diamond formation. Thanks to the 2009 upgrade to the Block 52, the Diamond now has more than enough thrust to continue to climb straight up into their first maneuver, the Diamond Loop. The solo formation consists of the fifth plane that takes to the air next, performing a clean low-altitude aileron roll, followed by the CXTH plane who performs a split S, climbing in a near-vertical maneuver, rolling over and diving back toward show center and pulling up just above the runway to exit in the opposite direction. Two Thunderbirds perform a calypso pass. Much of the Thunderbirds display alternates between maneuvers performed by the Diamond, and those performed by the soloed. They have a total of 8 different formations: the Diamond, Delta, Stinger, Arrowhead, Line Abreast, Trail, Echelon and the 5-card. The Arrowhead involves maneuvers in tight formation with as little as 18 inches fuselage to canopy separation. They perform formation loops and rolls or transitions from one formation to another. All maneuvers are performed at speeds of 450 to 500 miles per hour. The opposing solos usually perform their maneuvers just under the speed of sound, which is 500 to 700 miles per hour, and show off the capabilities of their individual aircraft by doing maneuvers such as fast passes, slow passes, fast rolls, slow rolls, and very tight turns. Some of their maneuvers include both solo aircraft at once, such as opposing passes, passing in close proximity to each other, and also mirror formations, which is 2 aircraft being flown back-to-back in the Calypso Pass or belly-to-belly. In mirror formations, one Thunderbird must be inverted, and it is always number 5. In fact, the number 5 on this aircraft is painted upside down, and thus appears right side up for much of the routine. There is also an extra amount of humor regarding the inverted performance of Thunderbird 5. The pilots all wear tailored flight suits with their name and jet number embroidered on the left breast. The suit for the pilot of the number 5 airplane has the number sewn upside down. Nearing the end, the Diamond formation pulls straight up into the vertical to perform the signature bomb burst, where all 4 aircraft break off in separate directions while a solo goes straight up through the maneuver and performs aileron rolls until 3 miles above the ground. At the end of the routine, all 6 aircraft join in formation, forming the Delta. One of the Thunderbird's standing engagements is the annual commencement ceremony at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. The jets fly over Falcon Stadium at the precise moment the cadets throw their hats into the air at ceremony's end. In 1986, the Thunderbirds did a flyby for the rededication of the Statue of Liberty in New York City. They also performed the first American military demonstration in a communist country when the team visited Beijing, China, in 1987. Their 3000th airshow was performed in 1990, and in 1991 the team went overseas to perform airshows in Switzerland, Poland, and Hungary. The team traveled abroad again in 1996, visiting Romania, Bulgaria, and Slovenia. Also in 1996, the team participated in the Atlanta Olympics opening ceremonies. The United States Postal Service honored the Air Force's 50th anniversary as a separate branch of the military in 1997 with a limited edition stamp featuring the Thunderbirds. A Thunderbird solo aircraft flies by at nearly the speed of sound. Thunderbirds F-16s usually consist of 3 spare aircraft, for a total of 9 precisely lined up on the ramp at Nellis Air Force Base just prior to the team's last performance of 2004. In June 2005, the Thunderbirds selected Major Nicole Malachowski for the number 3 position, making her the first female to hold a pilot position in the team's 53-year history. In 2007, during Major Malachowski's final season as a Thunderbird, the team selected its second female pilot, Captain Samantha Weeks, who flew the number 6 opposing solo position. The 2007 European Goodwill Tour was the Thunderbirds' first visit to Europe after the September 11 attacks. During this tour, the Thunderbirds performed at their first ever air show in Ireland. Despite inclement weather, more than 100,000 people attended the air show, garnering nationwide exposure by Irish media. Additional stops along the way included aerial demonstrations in Poland, Romania, Bulgaria's Grofignacevo Air Base, Italy, France, and England, where the Thunderbirds participated in the Royal International Air Tattoo, the world's largest air show. Outside of aerial demonstrations, the team participated in 8 official public relations events attended by heads of state and local civic leaders. The team also conducted community outreach by meeting with needy children throughout Europe. On November 10, 2007, the city of Las Vegas and Nellis Air Force Base saluted the U.S. Air Force, hosting the capstone event of the 60th anniversary celebration. Formation composed of aircraft from the Snowbirds, Red Arrows, Thunderbirds and Blue Angels. F-16A on display at the Museum of Aviation, Robins AFB, was flown by the Thunderbirds between 1982 to 1992. In 2008, the Thunderbirds remained in North America, performing in both the United States and Canada. When Quebec City celebrated its 400th anniversary, the Thunderbirds joined the Canadian Forces' Snowbirds, the British Royal Air Force's Red Arrows, and the United States Navy's Blue Angels in a ceremonial flight over Quebec City. Later in the year, the team returned to Canada for 2 shows in Abbotsford, British Columbia. In 2009, the Thunderbirds hired their first ever Air National Guard pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Derek Rout as Thunderbird No. 7, which is the operations officer, and the first ever reserve pilot, Major Sean Gustafson, also joined the team as Thunderbird No. 4. The 2009 Far East Tour took the team to multiple locations on the western border of the Pacific Rim and included performances in Hawaii, Australia, Malaysia, Guam, Thailand, Japan, and South Korea. More than 1.2 million people saw the shows in person and more than 120 million were exposed to the shows through their national media. These are conservative estimates, as one Korean primetime television show alone reached 8 million. The top-rated show, Qualifications of Man, did a 1-hour feature on the Thunderbirds and resulted from a coordinated media pitch to the network and the Republic of Korea Air Force. In addition to the air shows, the Thunderbirds personally met and spent time with more than 500 special needs children and orphans. The entire 2013 flying season was cancelled due to budget cuts resulting from the United States fiscal cliff. Team members made recruiting appearances in the Las Vegas area that did not require travel. Enlisted personnel performed gate checks and base housing inspections. Performances resumed in 2014. The Thunderbirds have performed at over 4,000 air shows worldwide, accumulating millions of miles in hundreds of different airframes over the course of their more than 54 years of service. Flying high-performance fighter jets is inherently dangerous. When flying in extremely close formation, the danger is compounded. In total, 21 Thunderbirds pilots have been killed in the team's history. Only 3 fatal crashes have occurred during air shows, 2 of them in jets. The first was the death of Major Joe Howard, flying Thunderbird No. 3, which was IF-4E Phantom on June 4, 1972 at Dulles Airport, during Transpo 72. His Phantom experienced a structural failure of the horizontal stabilizer, and Major Howard ejected as the aircraft fell back to earth tail first from about 1,500 feet and descended under a good canopy, but he landed in the aircraft fireball and did not survive. The second death occurred May 9, 1981 at Hill AFB, Utah, when Captain David Nick Houck, flying Thunderbird No. 6, a T-38 Talon, crashed while performing the helo maneuver. Captain Houck crashed while attempting to land his ailing T-38 after an engine malfunctioned and caught fire. With black smoke billowing from the exhaust and the aircraft losing altitude in a high nose-up attitude, the safety officer on the ground radioed Captain Houck, "You're on fire, punch out." To that, he responded, "Hang on. We have a bunch of people down there." The aircraft continued to stay airborne for about half a mile before hitting a large oak tree in a barn, then sliding across a field and flipping as it traversed an irrigation canal, ultimately erupting into a fireball just a few hundred feet from the runway's end. No one on the ground was injured, even though the accident occurred adjacent to a roadway packed with onlookers. Anyways, thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell.